Salutations, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for tuning in to One Akata Nation News Hour with your man, the one and only foundational Black Americans' #1 edutainer, Petty Murphy, here reporting to you live from the back of the classroom at Solon's #1 source for edutainment, Akata News Network. Now, today, ladies and gentlemen, we'll actually be speaking about a recent tragedy that just occurred in Minneapolis, the Twin Cities. A mother, young Renee Nicole Good. We'll call her Darling Nikki. But we're going to actually get it out to the field so that Nap Turner can break down exactly how she actually fucked around and found out. And with that, we say, breaking news.
This video just in, she seems to shed more light on it. Here, let's watch it at regular speed. All right, so stand by. You can see a cop right there, and there goes her car. She gets shot, and then her car goes into a car nearby because she's no longer in control of it. Okay, we're going to slow it down, though. Let's slow it down because now we see where that third cop came from. He came from the front of her SUV. He was in the road as her SUV accelerated toward him. Stand by here. You can see it. There he is. He's right there. He's standing in the road, and her car comes for him, and it appears to be then that he opened fire. Okay, so look, right here, you can see a cop dressed in black. He's standing right there. Her car comes. He tries to get out of the way, and that's when we believe he opened fire. Let's watch it again. See the silver car that's parked? He's standing there in the road. Here comes her car. You can see him brace. He moves out of the way, and we believe opened fire. I'm sorry, but this is very supportive of the police's story. There still will be a debate on whether he should have shot, he should have opened fire, but this does support the statement that he felt he was about to get run over, and that's why he drew his firearm.
Yep. All right. So we back. So yeah, we see what it is, and I don't even know where to start with this one, but we're gonna wing it. This whole situation is actually wild, and the wildest part about this whole situation is that this whole shit could have been avoided. One, because for whatever reason, there's a large segment of the U.S. population, especially individuals with birthright citizenship, that for some reason they think that they have to fight for people who have no legal status under maritime law under the United States corporation or our federal government. Now, I would understand if these peoples or these individuals were sovereigns and they were American sovereigns and they were born of the soil. That'd be a totally different, but we're talking about actual foreign nationals that crossed an illegal line in the sand. No visas, no nothing. Then they've been here, a lot of them claiming asylum. What a lot of people don't understand is that when they claim asylum, they're given temporary social security numbers. That's the loophole of how they get SNAP benefits, how they get Medicare, Medicaid, housing, and everything else. And you best to believe there have been instances of these individuals also voting. I live in New York City. I know what the fuck is going on. I'm in a sanctuary city and I've seen it. Like I said, we've had individuals, women unalived on trains for what? And the individual that allegedly did it was on the interwebs cracking jokes, laughing about how he was here before and Trump kicked him out, but Papa Biden let him back in. So what are we actually fighting here? Because this is what's going to start happening, because I say this all the time. What's happening now in society is that they know what triggers each type. So there's basically so many psychological, they call it. I can't even think of it. Basically like a profile, right? So think of it like a, for a lack of a better way of explaining it, the signs of the zodiac. And you know how each zodiac has its traits? Well, it's the same thing with people. You know, you have certain classifications, should you say, of T. So you have like an alpha, a beta, a sigma, a gamma, and each one has its own specific characteristics But what makes each of us individuals are the life experiences that we go through. But what they've learned from studying the human mind is that when individuals go through certain situations or experiences, it's going to react on the mind a certain way, be it positive, negative, or indifferent. So in studying that, they actually know how to manipulate all of society by the way they play on certain things. And if you see the way that this situation is being played on, they're doing it so that they can trigger people, so that they can get you to motivate and then push their agenda. Now, I keep saying this to those of us who have lineage to this soil, to those of us who our parents were born here, our parents was born here, and they parents and they parents and they parents and they parents was born here. This is not our issue. This is not our issue. And if you don't want to end up like that young lady, and it's unfortunate it has to be said this way, I highly suggest mind your business. Let the federal government do their job. Now, if the federal government starts violating American citizens' rights and American citizens' due process, then by all means, it's time for us to exercise our rights, because you know you have the right to protect yourself from any threat, foreign or domestic, even a tyrannical government. But this right here is not a tyrannical government. They are eradicating a segment of the population that we know does not belong here, because the last administration left the southern border open for 4 years. You can go through line, muckraker.com. They took the trek with these people. And when they were there, I want people to really think about something, right? We know that they use facial recognition on all of us here. They use it on all the social media platforms, all the cameras on the streets when you're walking to your job or going to the store to get a cup of coffee or whatever. Everyone's face is going through a facial recognition system, right? So we also know that the three-letter agencies, CIA, DEA, FBI, and all the rest, they also use these databases, right? So international or Interpol, the international police, also have a database of known wanted criminals that are top 10 worldwide most wanted, right? You don't think there were people on these terror watch lists that while the border was wide open, they didn't walk right across that border? I mean, Maduro himself admitted that Venezuela had the lowest crime rate that they've had in the last 30 years. And they said it was because of migration. Well, where the hell is all they migrate to? The United States of America. So if you don't think this is not part of a grander design, pay attention to what's going on in every Western or first world country. The United Kingdom, Spain, Ireland, France, the US. We're all dealing with the same thing. Mass illegal migration. That, my friends, is an agenda. That is a plan. And they've got us funding the plan and then fighting over it. That in itself is diabolical. And they're going to use situations like this to trigger your emotions so that they can elicit a certain response. Don't fall for the psyop, my people. Just like the No Kings rally. You can go as far back as you like. There have been instances in LA, all over the country, where ICE has had boots on the ground, where people have been assaulting officers, using firearms and letting off rounds at them. I mean, at what point do we get to this where it's okay? Because what blows my mind, right, is that these are Department of Homeland Security officers. So they're not even regular police officers. But we know what police officers have been doing in American communities, specific communities, for decades. And I have never seen the Caucasian population this upset. And what blows my mind is I see a lot of black folks upset. And some of the people that I see on my news feed saying the things I'm saying are the ones that I've heard before say, you should have complied. And that's the shit that's like, but we see you. But yeah, you know what? It is what it is. Like I say, it's very unfortunate, but this should be a lesson to everyone. It's not this is not a game, and this is nothing to play with. Is your life worth losing for fighting a battle that under the law you're strong and wrong. Because at the end of the day, the law is the law. Now, if you don't like the law, then you have to go through the proper channels to change it. And that's what I be trying to get my people to see every day. That's why I started doing the things that I started doing in my life. And that's why NYU at 1199 gets nothing but pure hell. And I keep my foot in their motherfucking chest. Because they broke the law. They violated my rights in the contract. So I got busy. And I just documented everything. And I was all over the way. And I filed state charges. So my point is the same type of thing applies here. You can't fight force with force when you have no war chest and no army. And that woman there, rest in peace, is an example of what happens when you play dumb games. And it's unfortunate. But on that note, I'm going to get out of here. Y'all be safe out there. And stop moving off of your emotions. Start using actual logic. There's a million and one ways to skin a cat. I mean, I want Black America to really pay attention. When this shit first started, right? And the numbers came out from the election, which I've spoken on that before. But of all these communities, if you remember, the Somali community came out and openly said that they supported Donald Trump. And now they're getting dog walked. And now the people that the liberal left that claim they support him so much are now having bodies drop. But they didn't even vote for your candidate. They didn't even believe or want to back your ideologies or your beliefs. I don't know what else to say. And that's why I kept telling my people, stay the fuck in the house. Mind your business. All they want is your light, your power, and your energy. Because they know, as Trump said on Inauguration Day when they said they were getting rid of birthright citizenship, if they did, the only people that could not be removed from this country were who? The descendants of chattel slavery. ADOS, Solon, FBA, whatever misnomer you want to use, but Black Americans. And that is us. So we, for the first time in a long time, we really ain't got too much shit to worry about. So what we need to do is focus on us. Rebuild all the shit that we lost when segregation ended. Because all integration was a way for them to come into the community and extract all the resources. And then once they did that, they used us to fight during the civil rights era for immigration so that they could import cheap labor and undercut all Americans. So when Trump says, and the left told you to get mad, but when he says, what about those Black jobs? Understand, whatever job you work, if you're a Black American, that's a fucking Black job. If you're a taxi driver, that's a Black job. If you're a doctor, a lawyer, a singer, a teacher, if it's your job and you're a Black American, then that's a fucking Black job. And that's what he meant. Get out your emotions and let's all get the fucking business. If there's ever been a time, what does it say? My people will perish for a lack of knowledge, right? But the meek will also inherit the earth. And we're far from meek, but we've been treated like it for a long time. And if you see everything that's going on, you can always create order out of chaos. Now's our time to focus on us, start voting in our own of our lineage politicians instead of voting for all these Caribbeans or Africans. No disrespect, but it's Byron Donalds and AOC and all the rest of them have always said they're not voting for reparations because they're not going to get a cut of it. And then now they're talking about they built this country when it was the work of our ancestors. So there's no need to get upset. Just read the room and move accordingly. It's time for us to use this. Let this be the warning to know. Mind your business and worry about you. Because I know that's what I'm doing. I promise you by the end of this year, I'm going to be counting 7 of them things. So on that note, let me get out of here. Y'all be safe out there. Remember, realize, transparency forces accountability. Y'all keep your eyes to the stars and keep that head on the swivel. And as I always say, it's a dirty game. And welcome back to the House Studios, ladies and gentlemen, with your man, Petty Murphy. Now, on to the story of Renee Nicole Good, a.k.a. Darling Nikki. You know, ladies and gentlemen, it's very unfortunate that her family has to go through this tragedy. However,
let's touch on a few details that just can't be ignored. What I don't understand is why there are so many people out there making excuses for the abhorrent behavior and the just pure out recklessness. I mean, since this whole debacle of the cleanup process that has been done by Mama La Kamala and old Papa Sleepy Joe, calm down, Petty, calm down. People have been making excuses on why they attack ICE agents when they're simply doing their job. But what I find even more diabolical is how the liberal left is gaslighting black Americans as if this is our fault, or as if it's our problem. We have no dog in this fight. Because when it's us, you know what we were always told, ladies and gentlemen? You should have complied. Hands up. Don't shoot. Calm down, Petty. Calm down. So maybe, ladies and gentlemen, maybe, just maybe, if, Louisa the Liberal, Darling Nikki, Reckless Renee, if she would have taken her own ideology and advice and just complied and did what she was told, well, maybe she'd still be here with all of you. But, again, very, very tragic situation, but, it appears, as Malcolm X said about the JFK assassination, it appears that the chickens are finally coming home to roost because Black America has been complaining about these things for decades upon decades. And every time we speak about it, it's always been, get over it. It was the past. You're playing the victim Olympics. Stop crying. You people just always want to complain about things. Well, maybe if you just complied and did what you were told, it wouldn't be a problem. Well, maybe she should have complied. Calm down, Petty. Calm down. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, I think the point is that there's a right way and a wrong way to do everything in life. And when you play stupid games, ladies and gentlemen, you win stupid prizes. And Darling Nikki has been the most recent recipient of, unfortunately, life's greatest stupid prize. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, we will be signing out. We bid you adieu. It is your man, the one, the only, Solon's #1 edutainer, Petty Murphy, here reporting to you live from the back of the classroom at Foundational Black America's #1 source for edutainment, Akata News Network.
Reality is stranger than fiction, and it's not a game. I implore you to look at or think of any technology that you see in a movie and do a patent search for it on Google. You'll be surprised what you find.